episode number 178.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because hashtag ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand.
Hello. I'm jumping on to talk to you about experience, and how your experience can be leveraged so that you can move into a new role. And I want to talk about this topic because I think it's a good one. I was having a conversation with somebody who is in a place where she's thinking about making a move. She has been working in the same space for the last 10 years. And so she was querying whether the kind of move she wants to make is going to be possible because she's been in the same position for the last 10 years. So this is why I want to talk to you about experience and how we can be looking at it and thinking about it differently than I know that a lot of you are. So let's talk about experience and the fact that it can be leveraged. So when I was speaking to a person who was concerned about her experience and the fact that she's been in the same kind of role for the last 10 years, what I was hearing from her was that she was feeling like she has pigeonholed herself. But she was saying that because she's been doing this for so long, she knows kind of where she wants to go, but she can't quite see how her experience is going to translate because she's been doing this for the last 10 years. So let's really talk about that and let's look at that, because this comes up for a lot of people. It's almost like people think, well, if I've left it too long, if I've been in this role for too long, and too long often equates to over 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. If I've been here for this level of time, it's not going to be possible for me to move elsewhere, because anywhere else that I would want to move to and operate at this level in would require me to have the same level of experience. If I want to move and do something else, but I don't want to start at the bottom, that other place, that other opportunity is going to expect me to have the same number of years experience in order for me to operate at that same level. And so because that is the case, I then will think, well, I'm not going to be able to move over, right? That's often what I hear. That's often what people will think. It's like, this experience is only relevant to where I am now, right now. And if I was going to do something else, I need to build up a whole nother bank of experience. But let's really break that down and look at that, because the experience that you have gained over the last 10 years is of value, not just where you are, but also where you want to go. It's of value to not just where you are, but also to where you want to go. And here's how we can be thinking about this. If you think about some of the most brilliant business minds in the world, people who are charging the way forward in terms of innovation, people who are doing things differently in their industry, often they spend time outside of their industry. Often they spend time out of the space that they operate in on a day-to-day basis. The reason why they do that is because stepping outside of your industry allows you to see things differently. It allows you to have different perspective. And as a result of that, it allows you to be inspired. It allows creativity to be sparked. There's so much that can happen when you take yourself out of your normal environment and put yourself somewhere else. So if the biggest and brightest business minds do that on a regular basis to make sure that they can be looking at their space differently, then the fact that you're coming from a different industry into a new space means that you can bring that insight with you. So it's like you're operating over here and then you move over here. All of that insight and intel and information that you've gained where you are can be so valuable from a perspective point of view. Like, have you ever been in a situation, maybe you're in a meeting where everybody is in the industry. So if you're advising on a contract, or if you're dealing with a dispute, you might be in a...
Hey, I am interrupting this episode to let you know that applications are now open for the Career Changemaker program. If you are a lawyer and you know that where you are right now is not working for you and you want to figure out what the next best move is for you and how to strategically position yourself for a new opportunity without having to take a pay cut, without having to start at the bottom, you need to be in this cohort, because the May cohort is really going to be dedicated to supporting lawyers. And the reason why I want to do that is it's 1 year since I left my legal career. It's 1 year since I fully went into what it is that I want to do. And it's been a brilliant journey. And I want to support as many professional women as I can, and particularly lawyers, in this May cohort of this program. So if that's you, as you're listening to this, if you know that you want to be making a move and you've been procrastinating around it, you haven't been sure how to move forward, or you've been trying to move but it's not working, then go and make your application. Head over to www.careerchangemakers.com/CCM program. That's www.careerchangemakers.com/CCM program. Submit your application. I will review it, and then you will be invited to go through a career change assessment that's going to help you to see where you need to be focusing your energies, and we will determine whether or not the program is a good fit for you. Okay, so go make your application.
Be in the meeting with the business people, the commercial people who are talking about the challenges at hand, who are talking about the issue. They are having a discussion. And then you, as the lawyer, outside perspective, you just come in and you just ask a question. To you, it seemed like an obvious question, but everyone else is like, oh, never thought of that. Or, oh, that's a good question. The reason why people respond in that way is because they all work in the industry, in this space, so their brains are all operating in a certain way and their logic is all tailored in the way that they think. And you're coming in with a different perspective and you're asking a question. So the same way that you can bring value by bringing in your perspective and your lawyer mind and your lawyer brain in a commercial discussion or in a transaction or in a negotiation, is the same way that you can take what you have and use that in a different setting. So just because you've been in private practice for a number of years and you're thinking about maybe moving in-house, and perhaps you're not in a traditional commercial role that would warrant you moving in-house, just because you're coming from a slightly different practice area doesn't mean that there isn't value that you can bring to an organization. Or maybe you're already in-house and you're thinking about making a move from being an in-house lawyer to being more on the commercial side of the business. You still have value that you can bring. So when we're thinking about experience, I really encourage you to kind of unpack how you're thinking about it. Because we can be very one-dimensional with it when we're saying, well, I need this many years of experience doing the same type of thing in order for me to move. But when you actually look at the experience, what does that experience entail? What is included in the experience that you've gained over the last 10 years? Say it was 10 years for you. You've gained experience of dealing with clients. You've gained technical experience of actually doing the work that you're supposed to do. You've gained experience with dealing with colleagues. You've gained experience with dealing with challenges, with making mistakes, with recovering, with lots of different things, right? In that time. So when people are talking about experience that you've gained, it's not just about the experience doing the job in terms of the technical piece. It's all of the experience that comes with you operating in this type of environment for this level of time. And all of those skills that you have developed and you have displayed are transferable to other environments. But in order for you to transfer them, in order for you to transfer that skill set and for you to articulate how it's valuable, you need to really appreciate it as a skill set. You really need to appreciate the experience that you've gained as valuable so that you can talk about it as valuable. So instead of just lumping it all together and just saying, well, I've been working as a lawyer for 10 years and I've been working in this industry or this sector or this practice area for 10 years, break down what have you actually been doing? What have you actually been doing in that time? And then how is that relevant for where it is you want to go next? And I guarantee there is so much relevance and there is so much transferability. So when we're thinking about leveraging our experience and we're thinking about making moves, please don't assume that you're going to have to start again. You're not. You're not. It all comes down to packaging. It all comes down to positioning. It's how do you position what it is that you've been doing so that whoever is considering hiring you understands how what you have been doing is relevant. or understands what skill set you're able to bring to the table because of what you've been doing. So we're in a space now where it's no longer about the catch-22 situation where people would say, well, I'm looking at for a role and it says I need this many years experience, but in order to get that many experience, I need to get the role so I can get the experience. So I'm in a catch-22. How can I display the experience when I need the role in order to get the experience? Lots of people find themselves in that position in the past where you're just kind of like, well, okay, I'm trying to get into this space, but like, how do I do that when they're always asking for experience? Well, we've moved out of a space where the only way for you to get experience is for you to be hired into a role. We've moved out of that space because now we're in a space where there is so much opportunity for you to create your own experience. Think about it. Think about the landscape right now. If you want to get known in an industry or in a space for your perspective in a particular area, you can do that very, very easily using a platform like LinkedIn or others. You could start a podcast. You could get known on TikTok. You could get known on Clubhouse. Like, there's lots of different platforms that allow you to start building your personal brand by you sharing your perspective consistently. And I've seen it done where people make a career change, and part of their career transition is them demonstrating that they have an interest and they are building up experience and expertise in this new area via LinkedIn. So it isn't just saying like black and white, or have I got experience or haven't I? If you're trying to make a pivot, you can be very proactive to position yourself as someone that is interested in that area, that is developing a skill set and knowledge in that area. And then we have the opportunity to explore and test and experiment. There's freelancing platforms. There's opportunities for you to go out and do little projects in areas to see whether or not that's something that you would be interested in. So it's not about just leaning on the catch-22 situation and saying, well, I'm not going to be able to do it because I haven't got experience, but instead being proactive and saying, okay, I acknowledge where I am right now. I'm doing an audit of what I actually have to bring to the table and what I could use. And then based on that, I know what the gap is. Based on that, I know what gap needs to be filled. When I know what gap needs to be filled, I can come up with my strategy to do that. I can come up with my strategy to fill the gap. Okay? So I say all that to say, you can leverage the experience that you have already to move into the type of role that you really want to be doing. If you're unsure about how you can actually do that and what the step-by-step looks like and how you would be able to leverage LinkedIn and how you would be able to position yourself, then I would love to have a conversation with you, because right inside phase 3 of my coaching program, we talk about power positioning. We talk about helping people to see what unique perspective they actually have and how they can position what they already bring to the table as a value add. It's really recognizing what is your career story, what is the journey that you've been on, and then how do we use that to your advantage. So we cover all of that inside of the program. So if you know that you have an inkling around what it is you might want to do, you don't know where to start, you don't know what steps you need to be taking next, then let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation and see if the program could be a good fit. But overall, if you are someone who's saying, I know that I have valid experience, I have a long body of work in terms of the number of years that you've been working, and you want to know how to leverage that, then really be thinking outside of the box and recognizing that you've got a lot to bring to the table. You've been working for the last 5, 10, 15 years. You have a lot to bring to the table. You just need to draw that out. Okay? So that's all from me. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any future episodes. Also, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway has been from today's episode. Come over and join us in our Career Changemakers community over on LinkedIn so that you can join the conversation there. Head over to lightbotscoaching.com/community and it will take you right to the group. I look forward to seeing you.